people and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
An hour ago, you didn't need a plumber. Now you're in a panic. When life throws you a surprise with a clogged drain, plugged or leaky toilet, broken pipe, leaky faucet or water heater, or a bathroom or kitchen plumbing upgrade, whatever. Just call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111. Keep that number handy, 467-1111. Or go to BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Partly cloudy skies expected tonight. We're dropping down to a low of around 4, a high of 22 for your Tuesday. With partly sunny skies, we're looking at northwest winds at around 15 to 20. Even colder tomorrow night as skies clear out with a low down to around 0. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? Happy Monday. Jay Foreman, DP, Austin Orman, Old School. We are live in effect at 1040 O Street. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop, located at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Andromat, and 168th and Maple up there in the O. A lot going on. Obviously, college football playoffs is coming up here Thursday and Friday. We got some transfer portal news from the Huskers. We got some coaching news. Obviously, is tweeted out, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. Made known that Ed Foley will not be coming back as the special teams coach. And then obviously NFL playoffs with the culmination last night of Detroit finishing off the Vikings rather, I wouldn't say easily, but with some authority. And then obviously we had the wrap up from men's basketball on this weekend with the big win against UCLA. And then also the women were able to finish off Penn State as well. So that seems like it's pretty easy to get into. DP in Austin, I know both of you guys were, at least I know Austin was at the game. DP, were you at the game?
I was.
What are your guys' thoughts on well, first of all, the overall thoughts on the game, and then also second question would be thoughts on what's the name? Cronin said that the PBA didn't have an effect on the way that Nebraska or the way that UCLA was able to perform.
Austin, go ahead, bro.
Heck of a win. Nebraska doesn't get many blue bloods in town, so to get a relatively new blue blood in town, get a win over them was a good sign, right? I think it's a great step in the right direction for the program. UCLA's guards weren't very good. Nebraska's wings kind of took over that game. Bryce and Juwan defensively, especially. It was the bench that came up big. Sam Hoiberg was fun. Andrew Morgan had moments as well. Nebraska did a great job of getting downhill to the free throw line. Not a perfect game, not the beautiful game necessarily, but it's beautiful because it's a win. It's beautiful because you get the resumption of Big Ten conference play back on the right foot and not on the right track. And I think it's just a great job overall of really leaning into that defensive identity. It took Nebraska 5 minutes almost to score its first basket. Bryce Williams with the three right before the first timeout. UCLA looked more aggressive and looked faster and quicker than anything Nebraska had seen in a minute. So I'm not surprised it took the Huskers a while to settle in. Then they respond with a 15-0 run, give one up of their own, but then they battle back when they were back down 7 points to have it tied up going into halftime. And at that point, it did feel like anyone's game. You thought things would open up a little bit more in the second half, which they did. Better shooting night from UCLA. It's a different game. Better shooting night from Nebraska. It's a different game, but it was a Big Ten rock fight. And I'm just impressed that this is a program that's learned how to win those type of games and not fold under the pressure of the moment.
DP?
Yeah, I leaned on. I thought this is the kind of game it was supposed to be. It was going to be gritty. It was going to be two teams that are both identified by their defense more than offense. Both of them had a reason to be to worry. The crash of coming back from Hawaii and whether you can put together the same type of performance. Warm weather Los Angeles team coming in to 20 degrees in Lincoln, Nebraska. And as much as UCLA would like to believe that the environment doesn't matter, it does. And while I fully expect him as a coach to say it doesn't matter, the coach is going to say, look, make shots, defend, take care of the ball, all of the talking checkpoints. But the reality is, as much as coaches say that it cannot affect, it always does. The shooting background is different at PBA than it is at Pauley Pavilion. Long-range shooters tend to, if you don't have the same optics behind you, when you get under duress, it affects your long-range shooting. And if it's your shot's not going down, not every player pulls a Connor Essegian and says, I'm gonna plus minus another way. A lot of them get frustrated. And how do they show frustration if your long-range shots aren't going down? You reach, you foul, you slap. And UCLA, if they had shown a little more discipline defensively, they wouldn't have sent Nebraska to the free throw line so often, even before they got into the bonus, which ultimately at the end of the game cost them.
Yeah.
It cost them, but that's Big Ten basketball. That literally is welcome to the Big Ten, UCLA. That's what you're going to get for the next 2 months. Cold weather, traveling in, interesting crowds. As much as you say you're not going to be impressed by going to places in the Big Ten, Nebraska fans know better. You can say it. It's just not true.
Yeah, maybe it was a little bit in the moment. Obviously his first big road game for them, obviously being ranked 15. And, probably from a coach's perspective, you definitely, don't want to say, hey, we got, pimped by the crowd. But I think ultimately, I think it really is probably a better light on Nebraska. When you think of Bryce was not very good, from the field. I mean, you can't lie. Neither was Jawan, for the simple, essentially. He was 3 for 5 from 3, but he just wasn't very active to get his shots open. And then when you think Burke, obviously playing against his old team, 1 of 8. It was a 3. Now, obviously, every point counts. You don't put a picture next to the scoreboard, but what DP said and a lot of other players where they're able to, is able to still get 9 rebounds. Obviously, you don't want the 3 turnovers. But between him and Bryce and obviously Andrew Morgan, that's where majority of the turnovers came from for Nebraska. And so, what they have to do is just take all the positive from it. You're really appreciative for Andrew Morgan to pretty much be the player of the game, especially offensively, right? 4 or 5 from the field and make all 4 of his free throws, and then obviously being a little bit of a physical presence and an energy source. And that's what they really needed and along with Sam Hoiberg. So that's what your bench is for. Your bench is needed to come through when one of the most efficient scorers up to date is struggling a little bit. You should have probably maybe forecasted that, knowing Cronin's background, right? He's a great defensive coach.
The score the last time Mick Cronin came to Pinnacle Bank Arena, right?
No.
It was 56-55 Nebraska in double overtime when he brought Cincinnati here.
Yeah, I do.
That's what Mick Cronin does.
Yeah, he can play some D, and he definitely emphasizes the defensive end, and so you knew they were going to focus on Bryce. They did a pretty good job, obviously, on Burke. He knows Burke, but then you got some good minutes out of everybody else. So I think it's more of it's a big win, and essentially, you keep the home court winning streak, but then more importantly, you're able to function without Bryce, in a big game. And usually Bryce plays his best in the big game. So I think you get 2 wins out of that, and you have some guys that were able to step up, and there's pretty big minutes when you think of coming off the bench. Morgan's 21, Connor Seagen obviously didn't have any threes that he was able to make, but then also Sam Hoiberg played 22 minutes as well, so that's a lot of minutes coming off the bench. But then also it lets you know that as I'm reading here, that Fred can he's going to try different guys in different lineups to get the spark, in the hard times. And then more importantly, we remember the snowy night when they played Iowa. I think Nebraska shot 15% from free throws. They were able to essentially win the game at free throws, 80 or at the free throw line, 86%. That's right. That's a different percentage than 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, think about this, that one, how we're talking about Coach Hoiberg now versus 2 years ago, talking about this program 2 years ago, where you're right, there were nights where free throws were just abysmal, and there's no way that game is won. There's no way that game was won. And I'm not sure that game is won in front of a crowd without students in it. It's a different vibe. And that's the thing about defense. Defense travels, and it doesn't matter that part. And maybe that's a conversation point, whether defense will win the Big Ten. It's worked at PBA, and the crowd's kind of gotten accustomed to, hey, we cheer for defense as much as we do anything other than threes. Like, we don't get many dunks to cheer about. So we stand up for defensive. Hey, a deflection gets a standing ovation at PBA. It's different times at PBA now.
And to that point, it's kind of striking to me that Nebraska basketball figured out how to win in the Big Ten before Nebraska football did.
Oh, you're just mean.
And
you're just mean. You're saucy today, Bernays. What?
But this is a Big Ten basketball game. The Nebraska men's basketball won. They don't win this game when they come into the conference.
And is it a Big Ten? Is this a Big Ten roster? Right, because I think that's the real question is you have 3 legitimate bigs, all with different skill sets, all with different impacts on the game. Not for nothing, but Braxton Mia, a.k.a. Stephen Thompson Jr., like to get a guy that just will go out there and for the sake of his teammates and knowing the long impact on the game, he wears out opponents' bigs. In the last 6 games, his picks have put the opposing bigs on the floor several times. And it's just good because then here comes the super mullet off the bench, right, to run the floor and be athletic and dance. He can still bang with you. Is this what a Big Ten Nebraska lineup roster should look like?
I mean, it's definitely a Big Ten team. I mean, it's probably the biggest team Fred's ever had. I'm willing to bet. I'm talking about just from physical stature, height, and then weight, but then also maturity. I mean, you got to think Riley Worcester, he's 6'5". Bryce is what, 6'7"?
Mm-hmm. Juwan 6'6".
Juwan 6'6", Burke 6'9", and Braxton is 7 foot. That's a bigger lineup than he's ever had.
Can we get somebody from the fan base or from the student section to go to PBA and have a picture of Bear K in like in one of those blow up sizes? And you know how they do with strikeouts? Every time Bear K hits the floor, that they should, like, it should be a count, like Bear K on the floor.
That seems like an idea for road fans more than home fans.
He is, Jay. I've never seen a player hit the floor as much as Bear K.
That's great. That's gravity, man. Sometimes it takes over. You just some people are just that type of player, but I think he also, he just is physical and he just kind of throws himself out there, and you can do that when you got a guy like Andrew Morgan. If he wasn't at Nebraska, if he was at another, I'm willing to bet he probably started at Northwestern, probably.
In North Dakota State?
I'm saying he would start at Northwestern, probably start at Minnesota. So you got a definitely more times than not starting big man coming off your bench. And so it's definitely a big team. It's a team that Fred's never had before. And I think that, he's had to manufacture different ways to be physical. And I think this year he doesn't have to. And I think this team has the ability, if Bryce is really going, to get into a game that we're in a scoring fest. And you know, I know we got to go to break, but the next game or next team that they play, Iowa, they just got boat raced by Wisconsin, like 100 and something to 85. So the fact that they got beat bad, but you also look at they were able to put up 85 points. So if you go up every time they've been up to Iowa, I think in recent history, somehow they didn't got hot up there. Iowa's gotten hot. So this is to test DP's philosophy. Defense travels. Now this is a different team. Now you're facing a different animal. Have you learned from Michigan State? Because let's assume you get the best version of Iowa, right? Here in about 2 or 3 days, and so you got to be
tomorrow.
ready. Yeah, wait, is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
So it's a quick turnaround.
And hey, guess what happened? Nebraska last year beats number 1 Purdue on a Saturday. 2-day turnaround. Head out to Iowa City. Let's see if you've grown from last year. Handle the moment better.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest part of this team, and that's what you want to see, and that's what I think you're starting to see after that St. Mary's game. I think you're starting to see this team mature by leaps and bounds, which you hadn't seen maybe in years past.
The record on January 6th is important. It is a huge statement for this team because it means you dipped your toe in the Big Ten and you came out with some success. I think if we asked the question a month ago whether this team is 13-2,
no, and you would like to, and you know what?
Not sure about that.
You probably like that St. Mary's game over too.
Yeah,
I like to play St. Mary's right now, right?
Yeah,
probably Nebraska might double them up, but anyways. We're going to take a quick break. Jay Foreman, DP Austin. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing an authentic relationship with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-491-9100 and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Today, getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Limitless Mail has redefined the little blue pill with our new ED trochees that melt in your mouth, delivering faster results so you can be spontaneous again. Once you try the Limitless Mail trochee, you won't go back to the little blue pill. Our trochees go right to the source through your bloodstream, leading to quicker, harder results. To experience the difference for yourself and your partner, schedule a free consult with the men's health experts at limitlessmail.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station. An hour ago, you didn't need a plumber. Now you're in a panic. When life throws you a surprise with a clogged drain, plugged or leaky toilet, broken pipe, leaky faucet or water heater, or a bathroom or kitchen plumbing upgrade, whatever. Just call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Keep that number handy, 467-1111. Or go to BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman, DP, Austin Norman, second segment, 4 o'clock hour. We're the Old School crew. Once again, we are going to dive into a little bit of the Husker news. Obviously, we got some comings and goings, some news over the weekend. I guess the biggest news, which I didn't really consider it was news. I guess, it was tweeted out. I don't know how people get it. I don't know. They send out a notice or something. Ed Foley wasn't going to be back, but if you really did some digging, it's just that his contract wasn't renewed. So it's the same thing. But that's the biggest news, obviously, because of some of the shortcomings of special teams at times this year. That was huge news. And obviously Jalen Lloyd, who went into the portal about a week or two ago, he's going to Oklahoma State. And then I'm really not sure what to believe or read as I'm reading off of the notes that we have here. I don't know if Thomas Fidoni's in the portal or not. I think he's kind of like Isaiah Nair, right? Or is he in the portal or he's out of the portal? Because Isaiah Nair's been everywhere besides anywhere solid.
Doing the travel portal, the transfer portal, hokey pokey.
Right, because Isaiah Nair, Thomas Fidoni was early in yesterday was reported that he was in the portal. And then you saw it not so fast.
But then today I check again, it sounds like he's back in.
Okay, then he's back in the portal. So the big time recruit, I guess we could just kind of go right there, kind of along the lines of Malachi Coleman, 2 local guys, even though Thomas is from Iowa somewhere, coming with a lot of fanfare and high, stars that, just didn't work out. I think with Thomas, just never, for him, I think sometimes the hardest thing for kids is not to lose sight of whatever your biggest goal is, right? So if it's to be all conference or to be a starter, I think kids these days I call it the Chia Pet syndrome. They think that they can pour water on themselves and then they're Rob Gronkowski or Tony Gonzalez or Travis Kelce. They don't really realize that first of all, Tony Gonzalez played basketball, which then accentuated his football, vice versa. And Travis Kelce, just Googling him, he went into college as a quarterback, got into trouble, and then he was like, all right, I'll go play. I will, that tight end position is not too bad. And I think sometimes, and this is not specific to Thomas. It's just like, he kind of was thrust into potentially a thought of or assuming that he was going to start. And I think we had Austin Allen and Baby Gronk, Vokalek, Skoll, right, who ended up leaving because of it. Really, to be honest with you, you probably would have liked to just say, okay, look, we're just going to bring you along slowly and get you up to speed to what it's like to play against real competition. Unfortunately, he got kind of hit low, and that was his first knee injury. Then he had the other one, so it was unfortunate. But then he battled back, and he was pretty productive as a player. I think he's still learning. That's the thing that sucks for Nebraska fans is he's still learning how to play the tight end position because he never played in high school. He's like
that hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing tight end in the Big Ten at 6'4", 250. It's an art learning how to play tight end.
And I think that's part of the issue as Husker fans look back at his career, having a hard time with how to judge him because he was never supposed to be a traditional tight end, but that's what he had to learn kind of on the job under fire of being.
Yeah.
So he needs some grace for the struggle and the process of learning how to be a Big Ten tight end.
Yeah.
There may be some skills he had to add to it, but that was never supposed to be his primary role. Yeah,
it's hard just because this is where I think it's a cautionary tale for 7-on-7. You do whatever you want. It's in these trainers out here, and it's also I think a bad reflection on college football as well, how they evaluate players. Because essentially you get scholarships by 7-on-7 in the underwear Olympics. So if you have the natural build, which he's 6'5", 6'6", or something like that, and then if you just have enough weight and you run well, then there you go. You go to 4 or 5 stars, right? Not one thing is talked about how you play the position. It's all about potential. And so what happens is that you're about 215 in high school. You're running past people in 7-on-7 or in high school. And then you get to college and you got to actually be bigger, faster, and stronger, but you never learned how to play the position ever. Right. And it's a big transition because you're going against grown men. They don't care that you were good at 7-on-7. You're going against some dudes. You're going against guys that have been hardened through the trials and tribulations of football. Then on the flip side, if you just strictly go, and I will tell you this, and I keep telling people this, if you go strictly off of underwear Olympics, like the way it is right now, and this is not Nebraska, it would take a different type of team to recruit Jay Foreman coming out of high school. Because I didn't lift weights. I didn't do any of that. I didn't do camps. So you had to have somebody that had some vision. A lot of these coaches right now, and especially with the 105 and NIL, they don't have to have vision right now. You saw what Deion Sanders says, look, I'm recruiting 8 to 10 guys out of high school. I expect you to play. If you don't play by your first year or showing that you're going to be able to be a starter or contributor by the second year, you're gone.
So on the Foreman scale, 1 to 7 scale, what's the likelihood that Fidone figures it out and plays on Sunday at any level, at any capacity?
I think he'll get some shots. I think he's in the portal and he'll do well where he's at. I think he got better at some things. I think he just probably needs to get a little bit more refined as a blocker. Some of that, is circumstances want to, but then also being able to go somewhere where you're going to be able to get a ton of opportunities to catch the ball as well.
Text line, go through using Jay's scale of 1 to 7.
I would probably say my scale of Thomas going to the league, not if he stays healthy.
Let's say put it at Fidone playing 2 years in the NFL or 4 years, because those are different conversations.
Yeah,
that somebody.
Oh, I'd just say 4. Just if I did, as long as he stays healthy, he'll get a shot.
And because there aren't many 6'5", 265-pound runner.
Yeah,
he looks the part. He looks the part.
You'll get shots. The problem is there's a lot of small forwards and guards that have realized I'm not a big enough 4 anymore as far as basketball.
Yeah.
This football thing isn't so bad. I'll fight, and you don't have to do the Oklahoma drill anymore. So I think he'll get a shot.
Or don't get to.
Well, for them, they don't have to. I got to. That'll separate some people. Quick.
Some want to. There are a lot of people in the NFL that just don't have any desire to go get that work.
It's all in front of them, and I always tell kids, you guys aren't in probably a position to be thinking about the league right now. I think the NFL thing and the NBA thing, I think it's tossed around way too loosely. I think that they don't really realize what you're getting into when you're facing. You can say you're a dog, but when you're looking across a locker room at a Jay Foreman or like a Jason Peter or Grant Wistrom. Like, I don't know if you're really built for that.
Yeah.
And it's not as easy as you think. I always tell people, like, once you start dominating in practice, and then once you start consistently playing good in the games, then start thinking about the NFL. That's a thought, or becomes a realistic goal. You have a good week in practice or a good game. Don't think that you're going, because you're not.
Well, isn't that kind of, you just hit a thing that Bobby Beathard used to talk about, the difference between the guy who believes he should be in the NFL and the guy who hopes he's in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right? The guy who believes it knows that, you know what? I'm going to have to outwork all of this nonsense. Literally, that's the thing that he used to look for in the conversations. And these are with guys who end up going to several Pro Bowls, that he would ask the question, well, do you think you belong? He goes, well, I'm not sure if I belong, but I'm certainly going to work my butt off to find out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, everybody has a chance. It's a there's more people walking the face of the earth. 7-on-7 has created an overabundance of skill position guys. I always try to point guys to go to play defense or be a hybrid defender, because I think that's the way it's going. But look, I don't know anything. I played back in the archaic days.
Oh, stop it!
But that's the way it is. It's
stop
cool.
it.
I'm fine with this.
Stop it, Foreman.
I'm completely okay with it. But I
Who
think
are some NFL guys you would tell guys to model their games after?
Ooh.
Who do you like?
Each position.
Linebackers, those hybrid guys, whatever you're talking about.
Well, Bobby Wagner is the OG, so I would say him. I think that my man at San Francisco is pretty dang good.
Warner.
Warner's I think he's probably the best going right now. Defensive end, outside rusher, depending on your body type, but if you're rushing off of 2 feet, then obviously TJ Watt. If you really want to get spicy and really learn how the nuances of rush and the passer, look at Von Miller and James Harrison.
Boy, I thought you were going to say Micah Parsons.
No, he's just a freak.
That was
Well, safety. If I'm trying to create a defense to stop, I think the tight end position is the best position out there to become explosive. And I consider Amari St. Brown kind of like a tight. He's not a 1 out there because he's not tall enough. He's not a 2 because he's too good. He's just a destroyer in the middle of the field everywhere. So if I'm going to start a defense, I'm thinking like a Derwin James, a guy that can erase anything. He can blitz, he can cover. He's big enough not to get punked by big tight ends, and he's excellent in the run game, and he's fast, and he's got everything that you want. So and then that gives you flexibility with everybody else around him. And so those are the best defenses when you're able to cover all 3 levels with one player, and he's able to do things that and he's very physical too. He's intimidating too. And you got like Budda Baker there, who's a special player at Arizona.
Minka
Fitzpatrick too, especially when he's healthy. They're all those guys that's where you're going. So if I'm talking to a kid coming out of high school, Xavier Watts said, we're going to see you here Thursday or whenever the game is. He's a safety. That's what you got to do. I mean, that's where, if you really want to be special, that's what you're going to do. They will put you on the field because it's a position that nobody wants to do. It's not a position that's not very popular, but you have the biggest impact. First of all, don't think that you're coming to college and that you're going to the NFL and going to start for 50 years. That's got to be, obviously you got to be good. You got to have some luck and you got to have situation. But I'm going to tell you one thing that'll keep you in the league probably way longer than you probably deserve is running down on special teams and covering kicks. And the hardest guys to cover or to block and the most effective guys over the test of time are the safety hybrid guys because they're fast, they're big, and they got more wiggle than like a linebackers that can block them.
Well, that's young Jay Foreman, right? Safety converts to a backer.
It's like a T. Farley or somebody like that.
Right,
yeah.
right. There's some rare ones.
Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, see a guy like, Jalen Lloyd, I got a ton of respect for him. He's a good kid. He'll do well. Thomas will do well. They're all good kids. It's not always like some drama fest or something. It's just because, look, you got a new wide receiver coach. He's probably bringing in what he likes. Just numbers aren't the numbers, and I'm not sure about the tight end position, but Thomas will land on his feet. He'll do well. And I'm sure his phone's being pretty active right now just because, just who he is. It's no different than Malachi. Man. I think, Malachi I would say this. I think Malachi is a phenomenal athlete. I mean, there ain't no doubt about it. Very raw, right? And learning the nuances of how to play wide receiver. And So, he needed development. And sometimes going out there when you're not ready does you more. It can do you more
harm than good.
More harm than good. And I go back to the story before we go to break. I'll never forget when I was like a freshman or sophomore, and they were like, "Hey, we need you to come and play on varsity." So my dad was like, first of all, he ain't coming up there unless he's starting. They're like, "Oh, he's going to start." Well, they want me to play like receiver. My dad came to practice, looked at the quarterback, because we had a really good running back. He ended up playing at Colorado or whatever. And he looked at the quarterback. He's like, "Nah," because he's like, you can go play. He's like, but it's not the best for you long term. The best for you long term is to be playing JV or whatever with your other teammates, learning how to win, learning how to lead, and getting carries instead of getting one or two like slant routes. And I was thinking I wanted to be cool because I wanted to be the only guy out there, and it was a learning lesson for me. And sometimes now they were forced into playing as freshmen. But were they really ready to play as freshmen? Yes, they were effective, but were you really ready as freshmen? Because when you're really ready to play as a freshman, it's the likes of Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, those guys. You got to be dominant. And not saying that they can't, just not everybody. This is not.
Well, physical and mental.
Well, but there's just, I think when you say the word dominant, it has to be like dominant and elite is 3 players per position in the NFL. At the highest level, there's 3 or 4 elite / dominant or whatever way you want to describe it. There just aren't that many. You came up with 3 linebackers, and you didn't mention some dudes.
Yeah.
It's not like there's 3 or 4 dominant elite quarterbacks. There's 3 or 4 dominant running backs. Everybody else is
like
trying to find their way.
What's the dude out at the Chargers? Was it McConkey?
Yeah. McConkey? Yeah.
He couldn't have been a 2 or 3 star recruit, but I'm telling you, he would dice you up running routes. He comes out of his break so good, but that's something he had to learn. That's from experience. It's like hours and days and months of training and learning the nuances of how to play it. It's tough, man. And so
he listens. He's a great listener. That's every coach he's had from high school to now said that McConkey is one of the greatest listeners, coachable, and listening. Oh my God, those are Pro Bowl talents.
Yeah. So it worked out real well for him.
Yeah,
we're gonna take a quick break. Come back. We'll give you the rundown of who's in and out real quick at the Nebraska portal issues. Jay Foreman, DP Austin. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease. Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend, you need a better friend.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Attention all wing fans. Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith. Innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing an authentic relationship with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-491-9100 and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up
But why?
because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back. Jay Foreman, DP, Austin Norman. Old school. Quick segment here. Jameer Khan is coming. He comes by the way of Kansas City. Smaller college. What is it? Is it Southern? Was it?
It was Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois. It's in Nebraska.
His high school coach, Lee Summit North, Jamar Mosey.
Yeah, Mosey's in there. He's the one. He's recruiting everybody behind the scenes. So I think that'd be a good get. Starter, competitive kid though. That's what they say about him. As I'm reading right here, he's on the notes here. He's pretty competitive. Here's the weirdest situation out there. Isaiah Nair, at least according to this, the notes here that I'm reading is that he's I guess out of the portal. And does that mean he's at Nebraska?
My understanding of it is he signed papers with Louisville. Those papers were withdrawn. So my understanding is he's still in the transfer portal, but that is a fallback option for the NFL draft.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how that works. I mean, but either way, it says Nebraska, but who knows where he's at. He's just in the wind trying to figure it out.
I don't think Nebraska's planning on him.
Yeah, so hopefully he figures it out, you know. And then here's Marquise Watson Trent. And this is a perfect example when DP talks about off-air at London Fletcher. 5'11", 225, a straight dog. Over 300-some tackles. Player of the year in the Sun Belt. Can find the ball. One of the best things that he does is he doesn't leverage the block. He leverages the ball, which is a natural talent, but then also can be taught. Good leadership, good coverage ability, and can pick them up and put them down. And very physical. Obviously, when you're 5'11", you don't have to be up to the 235, 240. Very short and compact, very powerful. I think that in the leadership skills that he would bring to a young impressionable group is probably just as much as or just as important as him physically. More importantly, you were able to beat out Florida State and Tony White for him because Tony White saw how good he was and needed him in his defense.
What would it take to get back to the point where production matters?
Well, I think it's a choice. I mean, I think
right, like this.
I
mean, I don't care where you play. If you're playing at the YMCA and you make 40 tackles, you're the best defensive player on the field. I kind of want to look at you at the next level.
And I think it all has to be within reason. I mean, if you're 5'8", whatever.
Well, Sam Mills is 5'9".
Yeah, well, Sam Mills is a Hall of Famer. Well, it's the difference. I mean, I think it's within reason.
Okay.
All I say is like this: production is going to outweigh whether. For instance, like I didn't go to the Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl guys said, well, if you were, 3/4 of an inch taller, then I'll take you. They took a guy from Iowa, and he never even got to the combine.
Right.
So I'm not going to let that outweigh production. So if you fit into my model, production, leadership, coachability, and all that stuff, I'm not going to bat an eye twice, especially if I'm trying to learn how to win. And his production displays winning attributes.
One of these days, I really want to get your and I think your 7 rating breakdown should be what the star system should be for talent. Because there are things I want to get your take one of these days where you two come to me and say, here's what really should matter. Like, it's really cool that you won the genetic lottery, but we know a lot of genetic freaks who can't ball.
Yeah.
But there are things that dictate that. Work ethic. There's no star in this. And football IQ. There's no star for football IQ. There's not. What kind of body language do you have? How hard do you work on your own? There's no star for that. Yeah. We give credit for, you have above average size hands and you run a decent 40. That don't mean you can bust a grape in a fight.
Yeah.
So one of these days, I would love to get the Foreman 7. Like, if you could create a 7-star system, what?
Well, I mean, it's a simple thing. It's like I think Sean Payton was saying that. Well, I don't like linebackers that can't tackle. Right?
Ooh,
thanks,
sir.
Sean.
Well, he was talking.
But it's right.
He was talking about Bo Nix. He's like, in the NFL or the quarterback position, accuracy and timing and where you put it is not great. It's up there. It's on time, on target, and he got it to the simple of where Bo Nix won him over. It was essentially telling him, on this route, I'm going to put it on his upfield right shoulder, because he knew when the guy catches it there, he can turn it into a run after the catch. Those are things that are probably more important to me because I've been through it. But I think when you're trying to build a program, you got to get some football players. Now, obviously within reason.
Well, you want to ask the question: can your quarterback read a defense? Like, you can throw on a dime, but if you don't know what you're throwing into, you take it. It's just you rolling the dice.
And then also there's a difference of reading the defense and executing and playing football.
Yeah.
I think the one thing about the quarterback position that's not talked about is knowing how to play the position.
Yeah.
There is a rhythm to it, to your cadence, how you break the huddle, when you break the huddle, when you snap the ball, all that. That has nothing to do with anything that you see in black and white.
Yeah.
Because you can win a game when you're off, just by essentially manipulating the whole process of the game. Tom Brady used to do it all the time. You've seen him skip balls to Edelman. They like, all the Patriots are done. Well, next thing you know, the Baltimore Ravens are down by a score and a half or 2 scores, and they only get 1 possession. How did that happen? Right? And you talk about Atlanta losing the Super Bowl, so forth and so on. So it's a good segue into the 5 o'clock hour. We will talk about the playoffs. And I know Lamar Jackson, probably, you've seen him probably wins the MVP. If he doesn't, I guess Josh Allen. But one guy that didn't play lets you know why he's the real MVP. Jay Foreman, DP Austin. We'll be right back.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
New year, new you? Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping can help make sure you keep that resolution this time. Our proven system combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition, along with our expert coaching to make sure you're moving forward toward your goals. The next 10-week challenge starts January 11th, but if you enroll now, you can start today and get a head start on those gains for no extra cost. Plus, head to fxblincoln.com and you can save $100. Don't wait. Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Limitless Mail has redefined the little blue pill with our new ED trochees that melt in your mouth, delivering faster results so you can be spontaneous again. Once you try the Limitless Mail trochee, you won't go back to the little blue pill. Our trochees go right to the source through your bloodstream, leading to quicker, harder results. To experience the difference for yourself and your partner, schedule a free consult with the men's health experts at limitlessmail.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, DP, Old School Crew? We are brought to you by the Mercado Certified Piedmontese Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop, located at 3 locations in Lincoln, 1 in Omaha. Weekly lunch specials, also a great atmosphere. If you go to especially one I'm familiar with, 84th and Havelock, it is a grill master, not grill master's heaven. I will tell you, even though the elements do not show that it's possible, true grill master will grill in the winter, so do not hesitate to go over there. Unknown caller, I'll tell you right now, 8018, asking who's winning the FCS championship game. I will tell you, we are playing it starting at 5:30. Should be a good game. Who's it? North Dakota State against Montana State. That's right.
Remember look, North Dakota State was in a brawl. They were in a brawl with Colorado. Like
I would say North Dakota State.
Yeah, but Montana's undefeated.
Just because Jamel Williams' son plays for North Dakota State. And they got a lot of Nebraska guys, so I'm going North Dakota State.
First title since '84 if Montana State wins.
Well, they got to wait till next year.
This would be number 10 for North Dakota State. Shout out to Sherry Ville from the journalism school. She was rocking, had a meeting over there. She was rocking the North Dakota State gear. She's like, listen, Huskers have me for most days, but today, going for number 10, need to represent.
Yeah,
need to represent the Bison, and being profoundly in the zone.
Yeah,
Bison.
Yeah. Hey, look,
how many people? That's a pretty big school for Minnesotans, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of. I've
Just
had
across the border.
my a kid that I've known. I was mentored when he was younger. Jamel Thomas went there. He's all conference two years in a row.
Trey Lance.
Well, I'm just talking about people I know closely. Marquise Bridges from Minneapolis is there. He's playing up in Canada. He's actually playing. You played a year with Yoshi. A lot of great players and a lot of Minnesotans went up there. But I think once Craig Bola took them to the national level and became, a powerhouse, I think, look, they had College Game Day up there. And so, they've came a long way. This is where they're familiar. I'm sure they were motivated by South Dakota State being a champion, and then they were able to beat South Dakota State this year. So wish them all the luck. And they have a lot of Nebraska ties as well. So before we get into NFL, also want to give a shout out to Dan Jackson becoming the South Dakota State head coach. He's a good dude. Recruited Nebraska when Nebraska wasn't fashionable to recruit. Brought a lot of kids to South Dakota State when he was there. Went to Vandy, went to Idaho, and then he was going to be the New Mexico defensive coordinator. And then obviously you got that job. So he'll do a good job. Pressure's on him, but I'm sure he's ready for it.
Did we send the steakhouse guy to the Mercado?
I don't know.
Right? He says he needs a great steakhouse for 6 people.
Oh, you gotta go to the Mercado. What's the restaurant there?
Casa Bovina.
Casa Bovina.
You got to call ahead.
Tell them Jay Foreman sent you.
Yeah, call ahead.
And they'll know what that means.
Yeah,
call ahead, right?
Yeah.
To do what that is, call ahead to make sure you can get in, or just be prepared to go through the wait, but certainly worth it.
Yeah, and if you call ahead and you got a little bit of wait, don't hesitate to go into the butcher shop because they will have you a grab bag for you, waiting for you right before you leave.
They literally could send you out the door.
That place is that's like a kid going to Shields.
Like steak Christmas,
man.
Steak Christmas.
It's like, I can cook this.
Steak Christmas.
Meats.
Steak.
Yeah, that's exactly
all the
what
meats.
It is. Yeah.
All the cuts. All the meats.
Who had the cuts last night was Jameer. Man, he was good. I mean, he was cold-blooded last night for the Detroit Lions. We'll talk about that, then move backwards. Detroit against Minnesota, 2-14-2 teams, coming into the game battling for the number 1 seed, which allowed to have a first-round bye. Detroit started a little slow, same with Minnesota, never really started. But Detroit found their second gear and dominated that game. Probably meant more to them to get a couple weeks off or a full week off, considering that they've had probably the most transactions for starters going to injured reserve maybe in the last 5 to 10 years. Really good job by them of holding serve on home field and pretty dominant performance. Even though Minnesota played well into their hands, Detroit played really, really well.
Yeah, that was it was interesting because you expect conference championships to be or division championships to be slugfest.
That game, yeah, you expected, but that was
super physical for teams that can spread space and get their elite divas out in that space.
Yeah.
But this was a meat grinder.
Yeah, it's Detroit's a physical team. They can play any way you want. Extremely well coached on offense and efficient. They got that offense is hard to stop. Jared Goff is the real deal. And then you got Jahmyr Gibbs, who's had to shoulder the load since Montgomery's out. And Minnesota, I think it will since obviously, I watched the game more from a Minnesota perspective. It's a perfect example when you talk about a coach getting out coached, and it was all ego driven. I like O'Connell. I just think when you think of him going for it as many times on fourth down as he did, he was trying to show up Mr. Fourth Down himself. Dan Campbell, that's
your game.
That's who he is every day of the week. O'Connell, that's not you. You're more of a surgeon type of thought process. He was trying to show him out. Second mistake was, and don't think that these announcers don't get it from somewhere, right? Where they kept saying, well, they felt like TJ Hawkinson was going to be like their equalizer. Well, no, it wasn't. You thought it was going to be a good post-game press conference that Hawkinson was going to go against Detroit and show them up, but you didn't take into account he's just coming back off an injury reserve. And all those things that I just talked about were ego-driven. It wasn't about winning-driven. And so, Minnesota, and on top of it, Sam Darnold just was horrible. He was horrible. I mean, the offensive line and play, he was garbage.
Didn't that look? But that was the first time this year, or maybe the second time, where Darnold flashed old Sam Darnold. Like he flashed Carolina Panthers Sam Darnold.
No, he flashed New York Jets Patriots.
Yeah, it was different.
Hey, shout out your boy Aaron Glenn for that. He just said we're gonna play man, beat us, and they didn't.
Yeah, you know what defense that was, right? That's the old. We played Jacksonville, and that's when they had Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardle. And so if you feel very comfortable about matching up underneath, so you play them based on the routes that they like to run. So they played Jefferson.
Yeah.
With
more
top,
Robertson.
Yeah, top and bottom, and then you played in and out on Addison. Essentially, they double coverage their wide receiver and said pick somebody else out.
And to choose not to, like to go away, there were opportunities, especially short and intermediate. They take the layup. Why was
Addison could have had 3 touchdowns? They were in rub routes in man to man with no different levels of coverage.
He's standing in the end zone mad.
Sam Darnold looked at him. He's wide open, and then tried to go all the way back to throw a corner out. I think sometimes the quarterbacks think you need to overfeed your superstars, whereas this is where Jefferson would have been better off of catching 3 balls for 50 yards versus 9, 10, 11 targets, 4 or 5 balls for 50 or 60 yards, because you had other guys that would have been open. You have Jones coming out of the backfield. Addison was open at multiple times. You know what type of route tree he runs, especially down there in the end zone. If you score 1 touchdown there, it changes the whole dynamics of the game.
And Justin Jefferson, too, seems like relative to wide receiver standards, because they're a different breed, relatively low maintenance for a superstar, right?
At least in public.
Right.
Like his body language stuff is good.
Yeah, he understands he's getting double teamed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just who he is. He's that dude.
I'm doing my job.
Right.
Get someone else the ball. They'll single me. Give me the ball when I'm single covered.
Yeah, and so I think it was a little bit out coached. And then Sam Darnold, you can always, I always say that you can look in the guy's eyes and you can tell if they're scared or not. If the whether you want to call it the moment's too big or they're not really ready for it, and he was not ready.
No,
you could just tell.
Man, that's when Mr. Go 30 shows up. Like, and they needed to just put him in the broadcast. Just to say,
a live Mr. Go 30 on everybody. Yeah, they got a new guy. His name is I Am Butter, and he's pretty good. Now moving on. Obviously, another big game earlier was the Chiefs against the Broncos, and I think the MVP race is going to come down to Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and it's kind of like a toss up. But obviously, look Lamar stats, he's better than last year, so it's harder to say he's not going to get it. But I think the way that Denver beat the Chiefs, and granted, they had some other guys that didn't play, it lets you know Patrick Mahomes is the real MVP. Without Patrick Mahomes, I know Kelsey didn't play, but we talked about Kelsey hasn't been a big factor this year. He is letting you know he's the real MVP. Carson Wentz, it's time for you to go hunting. Is that fair to say?
Not line.
Somebody said, "Hey Carson, come here, put this jersey on. Let me give you this money," and that's on them. Like, stop it, because there's that belief that you know what, I can coach anybody to the level. Like, I'm that good. No, you're not. No, you're not.
And for Andy Reid, he has a track record.
Andy Reid has quite the track record.
But Carson Wentz, I mean, and it's unfair. I mean, you didn't have any of your starters, but he did not look good.
Would Chase Daniel have done any better? Would Matt Moore have done any better?
Yeah.
Tyler Thigpen.
Yeah.
Where else do we have to go? I have to go to Tyler Palko, Brody Croyle.
What's the dude that came from the Patriots?
The full list.
Matt Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Castle would just pop up.
Oh, Chad Henne.
Chad Henne.
Chad Henne.
Yeah, they would just show up, pop up out of the like they pop up in the end zone like, ta-da, I'm here.
Chad Henne wins that game.
But how much of that is on the offense versus the defense? Defense was down fewer starters than the offense.
Well, the defense, they said there was only running like 2 or 3 coverages. I think Denver was really, really motivated. You get a shot in the arm when Patrick Mahomes isn't playing. I think the biggest thing with Carson Wentz is just the lack of leadership skills. When you hear the stories about him in Philly, it's brutal.
Thanks for not saying Indy.
Well, it travels with you. he ain't going.
I resisted that so hard.
His play was okay until last week in Indy. You had a chance to get him in the playoffs.
It was deteriorating for a month before that, and then the magnum opus.
Yeah. But I think it's with man, Patrick Mahomes is that dude, man. And you talk about it like, yeah, he didn't make the Pro Bowl, but when you look at what he means to the Chiefs, and this is to what he means to their defense and special teams, it'd be hard for you to win an argument saying he's not the most valuable player. Now, he's not going to win it, but what I'm saying, when you look at how he's the most valuable player to me, is that part of them winning 1-score games is what he's doing without running a play. He's manipulating the clock. He's controlling the tempo. He's making the first down or two that kind of takes another possession away from you. And this is where, like, you have to really look at football a little bit differently. Is like, if it's 3rd and 10, or say like 3rd and 9, and he runs for 9 to 10 yards and gets the first down, that's another 2 or 3 minutes off the clock. If he gets another first down in that drive, that's 1 possession away from you for the offense. So if they get up by 2 scores, now you're down a possession based on something that happened 15 minutes ago in real time. That's why he's so important. That's why he's so good, because when you see quarterbacks make those crucial mistakes, like last night, DP's talking about just take the layups. Well, those are the things that stop or deter a Ben Johnson from being aggressive, because he's watching the same game you're watching. Oh, Sam Darnold didn't want to throw to the open dude. Well, then guess what? I know my quarterback will, so we're going to take some chances.
Isn't that, I mean, that we talk about it's difficult to finish, but it's also difficult to stay to your culture so that you can put people away. And that part is, wait a minute, don't get cute. Don't go outside of your reach. Listen, if a thing was working, believe in it enough to go, you know what? I've made that tight bang eight throw 3 times in the game. I should be able to make it a 4th time. Instead of going, I'm going to go away from that throw and I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
Like, no, just do what was working. There's a reason. Like, trust your people to play make.
And that's where I think the Chiefs are interesting too, because they'll do a lot of that stuff, but also it seems like they're screwing around sometimes. But in the screwing around, just rolled out there, we're better than you, Patrick Mahomes wins a lot of games in the last 2 minutes. But let's not pretend like he doesn't set it up over the first 58. Yeah, with Andy Reid. Even if it seems like they're just messing around, they're playing with their food, there's enough intentionality in there that they know what they're going to in crunch time.
Well, Mahomes is he's not going to risk take when they're up by 2 scores. He'll risk take when it's a brawl, but he won't risk take why? Because he knows athletically 3 times a game, he has to use his feet and his legs to make a play, right? Just to extend the clock for a drive. 3 times a game. And it doesn't, sometimes those 3 times are in the first quarter. Sometimes those 3 times are in the fourth quarter. Sometimes it's once a quarter just to get them to move the chains. And not every quarterback in the NFL knows how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that you have Andy Reid, that some of the conversations that they're having. I'm sure, look, he's had 2 great coordinators. You know, you had Eric Bieniemy, obviously, for a very, very long time. Extension of Andy Reid, and Matt Nagy, who went on to be a head coach and come back. So he's in a great position, on top of having Alex Smith there as a rookie to kind of learn and watch from. And more games are lost at the quarterback position than won, and he's a winner. And that's what makes it so hard to beat him, because the sins that you've built over the season, Patrick Mahomes will find them. And once he finds them, he's just going to hold it. And then he's like, yeah, I know this dude right here. He's not going to play that hard if he has if they're up by 7 or 6. He thinks that they won the game. Or, okay, well, we'll try him deep. Because of what guys do generally is clock watch. They scoreboard watch. Oh, I'll give up a first down, or I'll give up an explosive play, but we have a 10-point lead. That ain't nothing against the Kansas City Chiefs. Don't think that they can't be explosive. They've chosen to be explosive when they need to. And if you didn't watch how they played against Pittsburgh, that's what they usually do the last quarter of the season. They just did the last game because they wanted some time off.
Can I ask you both? Because it's the thing. It was a part of the conversation online yesterday. We're talking about quarterbacks. And it was that wins and losses are not quarterback stats. And
yes and no.
Right? Like, I mean, they were, and they went into a full debate about it. And I said, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you tell me that wins and losses don't matter under your leadership. I don't understand it.
They do to a point, but it'd be hard for you to say, like, here's what they'd say. It's hard for you to say that Joe Burrow was part of losing.
But he is.
Unfortunately.
He is.
He can't control defensively, though.
But again, your job, if in head coach Jay Foreman, that if your defense stinks, you know that offensively you got to keep them off the field, and you have to give them advantage. That's your job, to do whatever it takes to make your teammates listen. If I need Joe Burrow and again, you're getting points, and that's the job, and you have the freedom to get points, but you also know throw it around offenses tend to give the ball back in some bad situations, and to make other offenses better against your bad defense. So, is wins and losses a quarterback stat, or is that just the byproduct and the result?
I think it's more a byproduct of it, especially at the pros, because if you got a bad defense, it's like, okay, well, like, how many championships did Peyton Manning possibly didn't get a chance to compete for because their defense was historically bad? I mean, I'm talking about the worst ever. And they were running the ball. There's teams that run the ball, but the defense is so bad. Now, I will tell you like this, in the pros, the mindset is you're good enough. First of all, Cincinnati's defense is too talented enough to play like they did. Played enough.
And always do.
And got a coordinator fired, or very good coordinator fired. The same coordinator that was up for multiple head coaching jobs last year. Somebody's head got to roll when you don't win. And so I think it's a little bit of 50-50 on that, because to your credit, you could say Dan Marino and those Dolphins probably scored too fast. Now let's think about that. You scored too fast. Joe Burrow this year was a very efficient offense. So it's I probably, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say you could say it's more of a quarterback thing because of the way quarterbacks have been played, but you can't minimize coaching, game management along with it as well. Just from a head coaching, when to take timeouts. Do you know what I mean?
Austin, is it a quarterback stat or no?
I would echo a lot of what Jay said. I would say I put more value in a starting pitcher win or loss than I do a quarterback win or loss. I think a starting pitcher in baseball
the game.
Has more control in a pitch-to-pitch, play-to-play basically offense, defense. You're in, you're out. Pitcher throws every pitch. Quarterback makes a handoff sometimes. So,
and I'll send you the discussion because it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it just kind of depends. I mean, it's hard because it's hard for me to say, did Tom Brady really win those Super Bowls?
There you go.
Because it was defense, right?
Man.
So did Trent Dilfer? I mean, are we kidding? Anyways, what's not kidding is we're up against the break. We're gonna go to the stream, and then we're gonna run this FCS championship. North Dakota State against Montana State. Jay Foreman, DP, Austin Norman. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Partly cloudy skies expected tonight. We're dropping down to a low of around 4, a high of 22 for your Tuesday. With partly sunny skies, we're looking at northwest winds at around 15 to 20. Even colder tomorrow night as skies clear out with a low down to around 0. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
when you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to hear their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Let's talk about trading up. Not what you're thinking. You could never trade her in, but you can trade up her stone if you like. Signify the growth of your love, the challenges you have overcome, or any part of your love journey by trading up her diamond. Whether it's been 5 years, 25 years, or 50, say it with a bling. Big love, big bling. We got you. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, DP, Austin Norman, Old School crew. Big shout out to Dave from Renew. He
was trying.
Hook, line, and sinker.
He's trying. He's trying.
There's a backstory to it. We're going to keep that private. But anyways, got unknown texter 8750. He says, honestly, tell me how Goff isn't an MVP candidate. In a normal year, he would be. But when you look at the way that Lamar Jackson, and I mean, he's a candidate, but he's just not in the final two.
Goff still gets the system tag.
Unfortunately. But I think the difference between him and Purdy is that he's gotten better from the Rams. If you look at him the year that they went to the Super Bowl where he actually was in a system, and Sean McVay ran a system then, now he's the real deal.
How many more years do the Lions have to be this good for Goff to be in the Tom Brady style MVP conversation?
He has to have under double-digit interceptions. Like that's the thing. That was what was keeping Josh Allen out of the discussion, was that he gave too many gimmies or too many free biscuits when you're playing against Josh Allen. Once you reduce that in the conversation side of it, if it's just throwing the football and not giving it away, Goff is pretty good. It's the fact that he has those 2 games a year where he's just Santa. He's quarterback Santa, and he is filling up stockings with interceptions. And people just go, "What were you?" And they're bad interceptions. Like he's the king of, "Hey, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing?" But his numbers are good. They're just, I mean, Lamar, same average per attempt. Lamar +4 in touchdowns, and the difference, Lamar's -8 in interceptions. I mean the whole rushing thing. But from a throw, you can't beat Lamar at an MVP if your throwing stats aren't better than his. Your running stats are not going to be as good as his.
Right.
But if he's beating you, and just to keep saying it, this bro threw for 41 touchdowns versus 4 interceptions. There's nobody in the NFL, and he put up Heisman Trophy stats throwing the football in the NFL.
He's playing better than stat wise than he was last year, and arguably you could say they have more weapons because Bateman's emerged as a actually true number 1. Actually, in Baltimore rewarded him with he's the first wide receiver to get another contract, and then obviously got emergence of Derrick Henry, who's rejuvenated. And it took a little while for the defense to get going. So you got to think he was doing some stuff under duress when he had to throw the ball versus where last few years you always felt like they threw it out of necessity because it was run first.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down to Lamar or Josh Allen. I think obviously Goff should be.
Barkley will get. To me, Barkley.
Yeah, I mean he'll get some consideration, but not realistically. And unfortunately, it's unfortunate because with the way he's played on that team in any other year,
that team does not win its division.
They're not the number 2 seed without him.
Right.
Not even close.
Right.
But in a normal year, you're not expecting Lamar Jackson, even though it's starting to become the norm, where he's playing even better than the MVP the year prior, and then you got Josh Allen, who's been on a heater as well, playing at the same level.
Has there ever been an NFL quarterback whose touchdown to interception ratio is 10-1 at 40 plus
it's gonna
touchdown?
be hard to beat.
Like, is there
tough,
a 50 touchdown guy that only threw 5 interceptions? Like, I think that's the space that we're literally talking about. Forget about, you're not asking any 4,000 yard, 40 touchdown versus 4 interception quarterback to exist and run for 900 plus yards. Like, we're not.
Was it Tom Brady?
So right now, this is from footballdatabase.com. We have Tom Brady 2016, 28-2. Nick Foles 2013, 27-2. Skip Josh McCown in Chicago in 2013. Aaron Rodgers 2018 went 25-2. Then you get to Lamar's 41-4.
But
so
nobody threw
Rodgers,
40 and only had 4 interceptions.
Aaron Rodgers went 48-5 in 2020.
That's the kind of.
That's probably the
Aaron Rodgers 37-4 in 2021. You've got Rodgers 38-5. You got Rodgers 45-6 in 2011. Tom Brady went 50-8 in 07.
That's probably the closest. Probably him and
Rodgers 40-7 in 2016.
Like that. This is my point. This is a generational year. Just throwing the football, and 900 yards rushing.
Yeah, he's been. I mean, it's crazy that he's this much better realistically than I would say that he deserved it more. He deserves it more this year versus last year. I was kind of like, he's so good. It's like, all right, but this year's been outstanding, along with Josh Allen and obviously Saquon Barkley, and a great year by Goff kind of gets overlooked. And when you look at Goff, he had the one game against Houston. They actually still won, where he had 5 picks, besides that, and if in the 2 picks last night were on tip balls, and 1 was a drop. So 7 of your 12 picks were all luck on the other team, and it's a year that he's putting up great numbers. Now he ain't running the ball at all, but throwing the ball, he's been pretty efficient and pretty talented, for the last 2 years. So,
that was kind of, I was having this discussion online. Literally, if you said that Lamar's any quarterback with a 40 touchdown, 4 interception year, 4,000 yard year,
right,
is the MVP front runner, and by the way, he damn near ran for 1,000 yards. Wow.
yeah, but it's the quarterback position is not a running position, but it's in his favor, but then it's not, because if you really get into it, then people will be like, well, okay, well then, he ran too much. So, I mean, the one thing he's done, at least up to right now, is he's nullified any of the things that people said he can't do, which is throw the ball like a functional, conventional quarterback. That's one thing that he's done. You cannot say he's done. Even like against Cleveland, his completion percentage is 50%. It was probably his worst game of the year. Bad weather, end of the year, kind of playing for nothing. Still has two touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, so you also got to give him credit here where you have some weaknesses in your game from when he came into the league, and now you can't say he's not a legit quarterback. And to play the way he's playing this year, to throw 41 touchdowns, 4 picks, and I think that I was reading a stat where the 4 picks really weren't on him. So essentially, he didn't have any.
Strick and I were talking about this a little bit during On the Block. I think it'd be interesting for you guys to go back and forth on. Let's say the Ravens and the Bills make it out of the first round. Who do you got in the rematch?
Ooh.
Baltimore won 35-10 in Baltimore in the first month of the season.
And that applies, because somebody asked me that about Tampa and Washington. Tampa won 37-20 in week 1. They're not the same teams.
No.
They're not the same teams.
I mean, the game will be played at Baltimore, right?
Buffalo.
I have to see Baltimore against Pittsburgh
first.
It would
be Buffalo.
I'd have to see Baltimore against Pittsburgh.
Guaranteed. Buffalo at home.
He said the G word.
Buffalo at home.
He don't mean it.
Oh, I mean that.
He don't mean it.
Oh, 1,000%.
He don't mean it.
If Baltimore goes to Buffalo,
Derrick Henry and them dudes.
That ain't gonna.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
You're not running the ball to that type of clip in order to win a playoff game. It would affect Lamar throwing in Buffalo in the second week of the playoffs is like nothing you've ever seen before.
Greg Roman taking job interviews as well.
And the reason was because you have to
Todd Monken, sorry.
You have to get used to throwing the ball with that type of wind and that type of cold. And Baltimore ain't ready for that.
And
you got the X Factor back, Matt Milano, too. Ain't no way Baltimore.
I'm here for that. I am here for it.
I ain't even. That would.
Who does Kansas City prefer to see if they make it through? AFC Championship game in Kansas City. Obviously, they're not scared of either team. They've beat them both. But if you're Kansas City, who do you want?
This year, I ain't trying to see that big 2. 22 is a problem. I ain't trying to see that too, man.
Kansas City, they'd probably rather see the Ravens.
Trying to see that dude, man.
They'd rather see the Ravens because Kansas City.
Buffalo red, white, blue, just showing up all over the place.
They feel very comfortable. They feel very comfortable stopping the run, and they feel even better comfortable against their passing attack.
Austin, I'll ask you, sir. I'll ask you. Who do you want? Who would you rather see getting off the bus if you're Kansas City?
I just think the Chiefs are happy they don't have to see the Colts. That's what I think. Let's put this in
That's real fear. That's real fear right there. That's when you know there's like, look.
In the playoffs, you're not. You obviously Derrick Henry is a Hall of Fame player. You're not worried about you lose playoff games by explosive pass plays. Explosive pass plays. Excuse me. You lose those games by that.
So let's flip it to the NFC. Who does Detroit not want as the one?
Let me we've had discussion with Jay. if you tell me explosive pass plays in high caliber playoff games happen, how do explosive pass plays happen? What has to happen to the front folks in the defense? What has to happen to
explosive pass plays come from defensive breakdowns generally. Now, if they're
an
running
extra player in the box, maybe
if they're running the clip, but they're not. You got Chris Jones. That's nullifying that. Man. I'm telling you how it is in the playoffs. I can promise you, they are not. Okay, go back to when
extra safety in the box.
Go back to when Tennessee played the Rams. Eddie George was able to run the ball at a pretty decent clip. They ran into trouble when they had to pass the ball and be explosive. Their big explosive play opened the game up by a defensive breakdown. I'm telling you right now, Kansas City.
Does it happen with a 900-yard rushing quarterback with 40 touchdowns?
But they had that last year.
They didn't have Derrick Henry last year.
But
they did not have Derrick Henry at his 1,800 last year.
It's not going to win your Super Bowl. I'm just telling you right now.
I'm just okay.
Lamar is going to have to put the ball in the air to Andrews, Flowers, and Bateman.
Will they be one-on-one? Will they be one-on-one against
to win the Super Bowl?
Will they be one-on-one in Buffalo?
He's going to have to complete the ball. So either he catches it or he puts it. He has got to win the ball throwing.
Explosive offensive plays, passing the ball happen when extra defensive backs are taken out of the coverage.
In theory, and then you have to have guys win. And what he has not shown to do up till today is win by throwing the ball.
He's never had Derrick Henry in the playoffs.
But what does that got to do? What does that have to do when you skipping the ball to the receivers? I watched the same game.
Is that an explosive play?
If you're skipping the ball to the receivers, that's a nullified
throwing the ball downfield with in man-to-man coverage is every quarterback's and receiver's dream.
Correct.
Every coordinator. If
Correct.
I need to grind, and I got the safety tiptoeing, and the linebacker got his eyes because guess what? He can't really go into coverage because Lamar will pull it down and embarrass everybody.
Hold on. But what you're not understanding though, those dudes at Kansas City are some dudes. They got 2 lockdown corners. They got 2 really good safeties, and they got 3 coverage linebackers. They ain't worried about getting one-on-one. That's how Steve Spagnuolo does it. He is going to blitz Lamar into speeding up his process. Once Lamar starts completing passes, then Derrick Henry becomes a factor.
Okay.
You ain't going to win. If you just think you're just going to run the ball up and down Kansas City Chiefs field, you might as well just stay in Baltimore and have some blue crab. I'll be there for it.
I am here for it.
But you ain't getting there unless you come to Buffalo.
Here. Well,
I'm just saying. You just think that Derrick Henry just going to just be bowling over people? These are grown men. Dude, I'm telling you.
For 1,800 yards, exactly. That's what he's been doing.
Right.
What did he do the first time they played Buffalo this year?
He went to work.
Wait a minute. Wait. What was the number? 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Against
and
Buffalo.
I guarantee he ain't doing that next time.
Against Buffalo.
And I guarantee you it's not happening next time.
Okay.
They better be worried about Pittsburgh before you think you coming up to Buffalo.
Ain't worried about Pittsburgh.
We got hot and spicy.
You ain't worried. Look, ain't nobody. Pittsburgh ain't worried about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh are already playing in Cancun. They already got the flights booked.
They might.
Aaron Davis.
Hey.
Aaron Davis. They already got the flights booked.
I know one dude is ready to go to Cancun. That's George Pickens.
Boy.
George Pickens, listen, he put together a montage of the worst NFL films.
I felt so bad for him.
Why?
I feel so bad for him.
Why would you feel bad? You did it to him. How can you feel bad for him?
He did it because I thought he was like making an effort to be a dude. But man, that is some bad film.
So which was worse? What he just did against Cincinnati or what he did against the Colts when he flat out quit on Monday Night Football?
It is a tendency. He's got tendencies now.
No, this is you have the worst trait possible.
One bad day happens.
It happens to everybody.
Bro, you got tendencies.
This dude had 1 catch, 0 yards, 4 drops on 5 targets.
Jay, it was so bad. It was so bad.
And then he was arguing with fans. Like,
it was so bad.
The biggest question to you guys, do you play him?
You have to. You have to. Because if you had somebody who could deliver behind him, you would have played him already. You'd have found him already. Look, man, you can't go into into the transfer portal and get you nobody. Ain't no NFL transfer portal in January.
Do you start Russell or do you? No, you got to start.
Russ is the answer. Russ gives you at least some option.
The question for me is, how do these guys keep getting to Pittsburgh? Right? Antonio Brown, Deontay Johnson, now George Pickens. Like, is Pittsburgh ignoring the red flags, or is it a
they've
no?
Done
I think I can change it.
They've done a really good job a long time. That's what I say about Urban Meyer. You cannot keep going back to this of revisionist history. You're not, if you hire Urban Meyer, you're not getting the one in Ohio State. You're getting a new one. They've done really good at drafting late. Yeah. Hines Ward,
Randall L.
Plexico wasn't. Antonio Brown, who kind of developed. Deontay Johnson was kind of like that, but you thought like he's not that good. Now he's actually more wanted out there. But then you start to go to Claypool.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Oh.
Remember from
second round guy, right?
Second round. And traded him for at least a box of crackers.
Oh, well, you got Juju, and you went.
Well, hold on. You turned your nose up at Juju,
right? Like
you let Juju walk.
You had it
because of Claypool, who Juju,
and he won a ring,
right? And then he actually outperformed because you were now. Granted, now he shouldn't have been live and dancing in the locker room while the coaches. That's fine, but conversation can't you deal with that?
Would you rather deal with dancing in the locker room or?
And then you say,
Antonio danced in the locker room, but that was after he had scored 3 touchdowns.
Antonio lost his mind after Vontez Burfict gave him early onset CTE. Yeah. He hadn't been the same since. Yeah. But Claypool, you got rid of Juju for Claypool, but then you say, okay, we can't do this anymore, and then you draft George Pickens. Now, if you don't know anything about George Pickens, they're playing for a national title game. And they are beating the brakes off of Georgia Tech. And he's on a full-on brawl and got suspended for the SEC championship game against Bama. Almost. Is that I don't know if they won it that year, but you drafted him. And I think right now they're so depleted at receiver. There's nobody really and I think they're in an identity crisis that they have to overhaul that whole receiver room right now.
Really? Poor Mike.
He's got to go. Pickens has got to go. You can't.
And who would take him?
That's not your problem anymore.
Oh,
he has to go because you can't progress, and you have to do it in warp speed. Because now being 9 to 11 wins with Mike Tomlin, people in Pittsburgh or Nashville's not thinking is good enough. But you have to compete. You have to stay. You have to stay on par with everybody else. You got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins there, and then you got Cleveland got some good receivers, and Judy did good, and you got to expect they're going to have a viable quarterback, and Chubb is going to be healthy. You could be stuck on stupid. Now you got Rashad Bateman down there showing he's a true number one with Zay Flowers. You in some trouble, no matter how good your defense is.
Yeah, that division requires that you have some answers. So, oh boy, that's tough. Like I feel bad for them because it just watching that game play out and not having an answer.
I feel more bad for the 52 guy or whoever, everybody besides him, because when they lost to Kansas City and they say there's 10 guys doing their job and one guy not doing it, they talking about him.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you not police that and have an answer for it? You need to tell if I saw 3 injured Steeler receivers. Okay, I might have some understanding. Listen, you at least addressed it, and they're not aware, or there's a disconnect.
What
right?
happened was George Pickens was on his best behavior up until the trade deadline. If you go back and look at it, once Amari Cooper didn't come here and he went to Buffalo, he's like, oh, I can do what I want. And then he slowly started to deteriorate after that. So it's kind of, but you have got to, all the best receivers, you need to be interviewing with Pittsburgh at the combine. I'm picking a receiver in the first, second, third round. I'm getting you up out of here ASAP. Don't even ask if you starting. You ain't starting.
You're starting your car.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
I'm not sure I've seen worse tape, in-game tape, from a supposed Pro Bowl caliber.
Yeah, you would say the only worst tape you ever seen, and it was only 2 series, or was it 4 series, was Peterman for Buffalo. He threw like 6 passes, 2 for touchdowns.
But he wasn't
the Raiders.
He wasn't a caliber.
Right.
Like
That's
we
what I'm
hadn't
saying.
we hadn't attributed any caliber to
Right.
Peterman.
But Steve Peter or whatever, he threw 6 passes, 4
5 in the first half. That's right.
Yeah. 2 for house calls. That's the worst tape ever.
Yeah.
November 19th, 2017. Sean McDermott says Bills will evaluate at quarterback after Nathan Peterman struggles, throwing 5 interceptions in the first
that's
half.
what it
We'll
took.
evaluate.
That's what it took, huh?
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break, come back. I want you guys to think about this right here. Mike McCarthy is potentially interviewing for the Bears job.
Yeah.
And guess who the Cowboys want? Chucky. John Gruden. What do you guys think? Does he deserve another shot? And if you know he's right there with Jerry Jones, but would you guys, well, I don't think you guys would hire him, but do you guys think he deserves another shot, especially with the Cowboys? Jay Foreman, DP, Austin Orman. We'll be right back.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CRF-R Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CRF Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with a Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CRF 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetables, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today. Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jay Foreman, DP, Austin Norman, old school. The rumors are out there that the Bears have requested Mike McCarthy to interview because come January, whatever, he was dapping up with all the coaches. I mean, essentially, he knows he's not going to be back. I assume so, right? Which is weird. And the Bears are going to interview everybody under the sun until they decide to see if Ben Johnson takes their offer. Well, there's a rumor out there that the powers that be want John Gruden to be their next head coach, and John Gruden isn't a Dak Prescott fan, and he wants Cooper Rush to be the quarterback. The same John Gruden that wanted Nathan Peterman to be the starting quarterback for the Raiders. But nevertheless, this is what Jerry Jones is trying to do, supposedly, until it becomes factual.
Dear baby Jesus, all wrapped in swaddling diaper and sash, please make this happen. I don't ask for much. I don't need much, quite frankly, sweet dear baby Jesus with the curly hair and the curly hue on the forehead. If you truly exist and you hear me, please let this happen. Sign every other football fan, not a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Man, I think that
we deserve.
Here's the best part: is like Cooper Rush was in line to. I think if he just started the game, to get a $500,000 bonus, and Jerry Jones. And this is the best thing about Jerry Jones. He looked dead in the camera. He's like, I didn't even know. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Because every coach and every GM and every owner has that type of meeting about whose incentives are up. You're trying to tell me as a bit as
$500,000 means
that's
that
some
much.
gangster. He didn't even blink.
He didn't even blink. He put some Visine in his eyes and made sure he ain't blink. I don't know what he took beforehand, but he looked in his eye.
He put it. He has that lizard eyelid thing going on where he can just.
He said, I didn't even know about it. Yeah, you did.
What are you
doing?
doing?
You did. It was in the paper in Dallas.
Dallas gone
before.
Dallas.
But as soon as he said that Trey Lance was going to start, it was in the paper. And then he said, yeah, Trey Lance looked really good.
And they never said anything the whole week of practice. It never came up.
Never came up.
Nobody in the media,
right.
Not your communications person, not your GM manager who puts that stuff out there.
Or you think Cooper Rush's agent didn't call the GM?
Well, no,
So
there's a
what-
website
Hey, Steven,
that
what's
tracks. There's a website that tracks NFL incentives for the final 2 weeks of the season.
Right.
Literally, and they send it out to every organization.
Right.
Hey,
but
can you verify that if Joe Johnson catches 3 passes, he gets $50,000, and they all respond?
Right. But first of all, I know who really knows is the guy that created the contract on his end is his agent. So you're trying to tell me Cooper Rush has started and it played well at times, right? And won you some games. And it is all about we're going to finish and all that stuff, right? That's what they said. We're going to finish, right? McCarthy, we're going to finish. And he's been spearheading that, right? And he threw touchdowns to guys when CeeDee Lamb just said, you know what, I'm done for the rest of the season. And he continued on to play good. So you're trying to tell me the agent didn't call you and say, look, man, how you going to do my boy like that?
Your coach, your head coach, your quarterback's coach, your offensive coordinator.
Well, they don't control that.
No, but that none of them at any point that the quarterback himself or the quarterbacks plural, Dak being the room leader, knowing what your boy's getting, the quarterback's coach, the offensive coordinator, and the head coach, and the GM, and the owner. And you're telling me that you went over. You went 0-4.
This goes right to the top because as much as the coaches and all those guys knew, Jerry Jones is the one that decided he ain't playing.
More power to him.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's our.
Please let it happen.
Yeah, John Gruden to the Cowboys.
I'm good with that.
And you know what was it? Hard Knocks would be there right from the get-go.
DP will be there.
Hey, John Gruden's on that media tour.
Ticket
All
will
right
be
in line.
No, ticket will be there. We'll go down there. Just go to camp.
Jay Foreman, DP, Austin Orville. We'll holler at you on Wednesday.